like a wild pattern. At least the part that takes it northwestward, westward, west-southwestward to about the Jupiter, Palm Beach area. I don't think there's going to be much variation to that. Beyond that point, we could see some significant variation. I mention that because, as we know, there was variation with, of course, Ian as it came out of the southwest. But I think this is going to be pretty close, at least. But remember, the cone of concern talks about the variation in as far as where it's going to go. Again, the forecast is for it to briefly become a Category 1. That's another area of confidence I feel pretty confident about. That is that I do not think this is going to become any stronger than a Category 1 hurricane. Then heading toward Tampa and then northward. However, because this is barely going to become a Category 1, it's actually going to be almost as stormy 100 miles to the right of the track, which puts the Jacksonville area of northeastern Florida and eventually southeastern Georgia basically involved pretty significantly in the track. The worst of the weather will pretty much be into Thursday and on Friday. We will keep you updated.
This has been a severe weather update from the First Coast News weather team. Download the First Coast News app for live weather updates anytime.
Still with us, let's talk some more about Subtropical Storm Nicole. Again, although it looks like a wild pattern, there's plenty of confidence that this overall pattern over the next, let's say, so that takes us through Wednesday night and Thursday morning, so almost the next 48 hours, feel pretty confident about this overall track. Think about landfall being near the Jupiter, Palm Beach area. Now, because we're forecasting it to become only a Category 1. Now, when I say only, of course, any hurricane is significant. But certainly if it was earlier in the season, we would be concerned about it possibly becoming a major hurricane. And then it's a whole different type of animal. Major hurricane being Category 3, 4, or 5. But we think it's going to probably peak as a Category 1, Jupiter to Palm Beach. But that also means with it barely becoming a hurricane, not much of an eye wall. And the reason that's significant is the eye wall, where the weather is so much dramatically different than beyond the eye wall. So certainly the worst of the weather will be in the Jupiter Palm Beach area. But for the rest of us, off to the right of the storm motion, and again, notice we're northeast Florida and southeastern Georgia on Wednesday night into Thursday, into Friday. Over northeast Florida and southeastern Georgia, we're on the right. And I mention that because that is the wettest, windiest side, and also the side in which we have the most push off the ocean. And our main concern, or let's say the highest level of concern, is due to the combination of the winds pushing that water ashore into the estuaries, through the St. Johns water basin, and then we have the heavy rains that come in as well. Notice, although we're going to have showers increasing on Tuesday and on Wednesday, the main bulk of the steadier heavy rains, this is a water vapor map, incidentally, drier air up to 30,000 feet, and then increasingly wetter air, and then saturated air. And watch how the leading edge of that really comes ashore as we head into Thursday and on Friday. This is a very asymmetrical system. We expect that with a hybrid system. When we say hybrid, it really means a combination of energy from the jet stream and from the warm waters. When it's purely tropical, all of the energy is coming from the warm waters. And notice how it's not a symmetrical system right now. That's good news. When we start seeing this become symmetrical, then that means it's becoming more tropical. Okay, so what's it all mean? We will be sharing all kinds of details with you, and we'll break it down county by county, and especially because the tides will vary depending on whether we're talking about the beaches, the intracoastal, the estuaries along the St. Johns River. We're going to break it down for you even beyond county by county. We'll even be talking about some of the specific creeks. But generally speaking, although we will see winds increasing through Wednesday, showers increasing later Tuesday and on Wednesday, the worst of the combination, that is high tides and winds and rain, will be on Thursday and then in toward Friday. The main flooding event probably with the 3 high tides Thursday morning, Thursday evening, and then Friday morning. and then we may see the flooding concern relax somewhat later Friday, and then after that, more of a tornadic concern. And then, of course, then that would be a concern for all areas, not just tidal levels. So here's what we have so far. Again, the hurricane hunters are checking out. We have satellite pictures on it, and then as it gets closer to the Bahamas and then to Florida, we'll have radar on Nicole as well. As far as what you should be doing today, I would just be preparing for what you would normally do during a significant nor'easter if you're away from the water. If you're near the water, let's put it this way. If you were impacted significantly by Ian and/or you were preparing significantly just in case for Ian, I would do the same things you did for Ian, or maybe that you wished you had done for Ian. Again, when I talk about Ian will not impact us like it did in Southwest Florida. When I talk about Ian, I'm talking about how Ian impacted us in northeastern Florida and southeastern Georgia. Again, the worst of that weather will be Thursday and Friday. Wednesday is going to be pretty windy and wet. So for those of you making specific preparations, I would get it done today and tomorrow. We will, of course, have updates for you as we go through the week.